Hey, what's up guys? How's it going? Welcome to Dave's Watch channel. And for this video, I'm going to be talking about traveling with luxury watches. I'll be going on a pretty long trip to South Korea, about 2.5 months. And, I like to take wristwatches on my trips. And I've done so with only one wristwatch in the past, right? I used to take my Rolex Yachtmaster when I went to Asia, Hong Kong, wore it to Hong Kong, Thailand, Korea, of course, Japan. And I realized, that was when I realized I was just not a one-watch person, right? I know for a fact, even if I have the ultimate one-watch collection, which I would say would be the Patek 5711 in steel, I know that will still not be enough. When I say by enough, right, I just need another watch. It doesn't have to be super expensive. That's why I don't believe in one watch collections. That is an ideal which is just not possible if you truly are a collector and lover of wristwatches. So 2 wristwatches is really all I need. When I say all I need, right, it sounds silly, right? Nobody even needs a wristwatch these days. But when I travel, I feel most comfortable, at ease, and enjoyable to have 2 wristwatches. And so for my upcoming trip, I decided to bring these 2 watches, these 2 babies. I really love, when you're traveling, right, to have a dual time zone. It's not a GMT, but I don't need a GMT. I just really need to keep track of 2 time zones. As you can tell, I've set it to the time in Korea, which is 3 in the morning, 3:10 in the morning right now as we are recording. And the Royal Oak Dual Timer is just such a cute, charming watch. It's just so beautiful, elegant, sleek, and I believe this is the second closest iteration of the Royal Oak compared to the Jumbo, the original Jumbo. And I think this might be my favorite wristwatch. Yeah. The only issue with it is that the power reserve tends to be a bit weak. I think it's only about a 40-hour power reserve. So it demands to be on my wrist quite often to charge up. And then I'll be bringing my latest acquisition, the Rolex Deep Sea. It's just, I just can't say how good this watch really feels in the hands and on the wrist. Now it is a bit top heavy, so I think that might turn a lot of people away. But anyway, I'm bringing these 2 watches. And back to my topic of traveling with watches. Now, obviously, watch theft is a huge issue. Depends where you go. If you go to Asia, one of the big Asian cities, they tend to be relatively safe, pretty good when it comes to crime and theft. I think partly that's due to there being CCTV almost everywhere in Korea. So countries like Korea, Japan, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore, maybe parts of Malaysia, KL, I felt pretty safe there. They tend to be pretty good. You can kind of wear your luxury timepieces with ease of mind, that no one's just gonna come up and rob you and snatch the watch away, rob you at knife point or gun point. Right? that I'm 99% sure it will not happen, especially in countries like Korea and Japan and Singapore. However, the same cannot be said for countries like in Europe, yeah, Europe, right? Like Paris, Barcelona, London, Rome. You know, countries with, I hate to say it, a lot of migrant issues, yeah, where they're taking a lot of migrants. Not to mention you have the local gypsy population. I don't, I'm not meaning to sound political or anything, but multicultural cities, right, where I guess there's a big, you know, disparity in terms of class and ethnicities. It's a bit rough out there, right? I'll be taking a trip out to Barcelona for a wedding, and the sad reality is that I'm not going to be wearing anything. Right? I'm just gonna go bare. You can see the tan line. Maybe I'll just draw a picture of a watch on my wrist, but maybe I can work on my wristwatch tan line while in Barcelona. Yeah, and that's a sad reality, right? I don't know if there, how you can be a watch collector in those cities. It's so sad, right? You buy these beautiful items and you cannot have it on your person. Right? Things are so bad that in London recently, some guy got stabbed outside his hotel and got robbed of his watch, and he died. Right? I mean, that's the sad reality of the state of the world in some of these big cities. Very, very sad, right? How which is why I don't quite look forward to going to places in Europe. I mean, in Europe, any touristy place you go, right, people are always kind of hassling you, right, trying to hustle, trying to scam you. You gotta always watch out for pickpockets. It's just, maybe I'm just biased or whatever, yeah. But I've spoken about this with a lot of friends as well. Pretty wealthy friends, and they themselves are wealthy Asian friends. I guess we're a target. If you're Asian, Chinese looking, you're in Europe, having a good time, you got luxury items on you, right? You're a big target, and that's a sad reality, right? So I will not be wearing anything to Europe, to Barcelona, but definitely in Korea I'm gonna be wearing these two watches, and I know I'm gonna be happy. That I guess it says a lot, right? Why I picked these two watches. I think it's possible to have a two watch collection. Yeah. And I picked these two watches. Right. Obviously, I would love to have a chronograph along, but I think that would be just a little bit too much. Too much to handle. Right? I'll probably wear one watch on each hand at the airport and the plane ride, and have a good time in Korea. I'll be expecting another child, which is why I'm there for so long. All right. So anyway, stay safe with your watches. Right. Be very aware of your surroundings. Yeah, unfortunately, I wouldn't wear anything nice if I were going to places like London, Paris, Barcelona, Rome, those big European cities that I just mentioned, which is very unfortunate. Anyway, enjoy your watches in the summertime if you're traveling. Let me know how you stay safe, right? If you recently went to those cities, were you wearing an expensive timepiece? And if you were, how did it feel? Or God forbid you got robbed or mugged, and what was that experience like, right? How did the police what was the process like or what happened, you know? Anyway, take care.